What? I clicked it too early. I'm not even ready. I'm not even set up. You just saw me set up. Oh, my giant setup process. Book. The city of San Francisco is being stalked by a huge shaved vampire cat named Shet. And only I, Abigail Normal, and my manga-haired love monkey stand between the ravenous monsters and the bloody massacre of the general public. Whoa! And this is a love story? Love story. But there isn't a... Yeah, yep. Except there isn't no whining. But there is everybody's favorite undead couple, Tommy and Jody, who just escaped imprisonment in a brown statue. And now that they're out, they've joined forces with Abby and her boyfriend Steve, the Frozen Turkey Bowling League at Safeway, and the Emperor of San Francisco and his trusty dogs, Lazarus and Bummer. A gay goth guy named Jared and San Francisco's finest, Kavuto and Rivera, on to hunt a big cat and save the city. Really. This is the third and probably last installment of the A Love Story series by Christopher Moore. I've read the entire series and I'm just finishing it up. The other ones I read in the previous year, and I've almost read everything by Christopher Moore. And I highly, 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 highly recommend everything by Christopher Moore. Fool, You Suck, Bite Me, I think that's one, Lamb, Fluke, A Dirty Job. Basically, Christopher Moore is, in my eyes, the American version of Douglas Adams, and I adore Douglas Adams. Like, this is how much I love Douglas Adams. Douglas Adams, for those who don't know, writes the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy series, and I, no matter where I go, carry a towel that says "Don't Panic" in big, friendly, pink letters. If you know the Hitchhiker's Guide series, that's a really big thing. 'Cause I'm cool. Anyways, as far as comedy writing goes, I'm going to have to say Christopher Moore is my favorite living author at the moment, by far. Just general later, everyone knows Neil Gaiman, but Christopher Moore has, this really great sense of comedy, this really great sense of wit. Like, every single page in this book, and his previous love story books, there's been a lull. There has been like a ha-ha. No, not like a lull, L-U-L. Like, oh, that sucks. Like an L-O-L. Worst. I'm nervous. Why am I nervous? What do I have to say about Christopher Moore? Definitely read these books. This is the first book that he's written with Abigail, little goth girl, as the main character. The other two focus on Jody and Tommy, the vampires. And it does sound like, it's a vampire book, except, like, it's really satirical. Not of the vampire genre, but of the people genre. And this is something that, I only find normally in, like, very British humor kind of stuff, where it's satire, but a really endearing satire. Like, it loves everything that it's making fun of. In the book, I think that's why it's that kind of funny, because it's not a satire as an, oh, social commentary. It's a satire and, oh, social commentary, because this is what I love about society. And it really is about people. All his books are about people. They're all really well researched. Lamb, by far, is my favorite book by him. It's his book, his take on the life of Jesus Christ. And I love Jesus Christ. So, Lamb is another really huge satire of everything Jesus does. And when I finished reading Lamb, especially when I finished reading Lamb, it just said so much of what I've wanted to say in my entire life, but couldn't really ever articulate. Bite Me isn't exactly that book. But it is very funny. And it does touch on romance and love stories and just human love in general. In a much more real way, a much more way that when you live life and you're like, yeah, that's sort of the way it was. It wasn't super romancy, especially with like a vampire love genre where it's like super exaggerated. This wasn't at all. This was really consumable. Bloodsucking Fiends wasn't that good. His first book in this series was written back in like 91. Wasn't that good. And you can tell as his books progress, his writing gets so much better. Really good author. Really great author to look for. He has his next book in the last few pages of this one. I haven't read the last few pages of this one. Named Sacre Bleu, which I'm almost assuming is about Raziel. Oh, something else that's brilliant about this book. Probably one of the biggest reasons why you should read all of Christopher Moore. Usually when you read one author, like, oh, that was a great book, but his other books don't really go very well. Abigail's appeared in a lot of his books. All his books take place in this universe, and every character in that universe interacts with other characters in that same universe. This is basically the Tommy and Jody saga, but they still have, like, the Emperor of San Francisco, which is this homeless guy that just is completely awesome. And he's in almost every other book, and they just, all these other characters that you, like, have grown attached to through the other books and the other adventures all pop in here. So I wouldn't rather start reading it. Bite Me. Bite Me is his most recent book. You Suck, a love story. The one before this one is a really good one to start at. Even though Bloodsucking Fiends happens before, Bloodsucking Fiends sort of looks like he was going for something more actually about vampire love story. And then by You Suck, it's like, no, this is just about love in general, which I really appreciate in all his works. Fluke, the one about the whales, about environmentalism. But not really, yeah. It's about whales. It's really great. Fool is about comedy in general, and A Dirty Job is about concepts of death, which I really like. It's about the Grim Reaper, sort of. Girl who can control death. She's like 2 for the entire... Oh, spoilers. Spoilers! It's about artifacts. About death. Really great. I don't know what to say. Read Christopher Moore. Don't start at Bite Me, though, because it's really in the universe. Like, it has every character he's used so far. So starting at Bite Me is sort of like starting at Giant Silent Bob Strike Back in that series, where you're like, oh, I don't know as is funny, because every character is a cameo from previous movies. But I'd start at You Suck, a love story. If you're not completely turned off by Jesus, start at Lamb. And if you're not really like if you don't really like vampires, start at A Dirty Job. Definitely start at A Dirty Job, but start reading Christopher Moore. I don't care if you don't like comedy. If you just like people, if you like concepts of love and concepts of death and concepts of the environment, read Christopher Moore. He is a great contemporary writer, American, writing right now books that I think really should be up there, are phenomenally reviewed by a lot of people. Everyone that reads them reads more than one. Like, you will not be able to just read one. But yeah, Christopher Moore. I just finished Bite Me. It was a good ending to the series, but so was the second one, and so was the first one. So it might continue later on. Between 1 and 2, the books take like 10 years to release. This one came out 2 was like 2000 and something, so this one's that long. Really excited to read Bite Me, though. I've been looking forward to this book for a while. I just need to buy it, because I knew I would end up buying it. Lamb. Read Lamb. Lamb is my favorite by him by far. So good. Probably one of the reasons why he has become one of my favorite authors of history is because of Lamb, and how much it did affect me, and how I saw faith, and how I saw the world, and how I saw being good. Like, I know a lot of you diss faith just on the world scale, but you can't diss being a good person, or at least trying to be a good person. And that's a lot of what I feel faith is, just trying to be a decent human being. And in Lamb, just the concept of being a decent human being is just so in there and so detached from religion. The book is not about religion at all. It just probably spits in the face of religion without doing it. So it's about Jesus. It's about the life of a man. This isn't really about vampires. This is about the love of two people and how it affects all the people around them. Fluke isn't actually about whale hunting. It really is how humans interact with the environment, and how nothing we ever do to the environment will fuck it up, because the environment is massive. All his books are about really wide, huge concepts, which Douglas Adams does a lot of, but Douglas Adams is also very British. Very consumable, very readable. You will read it within a week, for sure. Pick up anything by Christopher Moore. You like vampire romance, You Suck. Or Bloodsucking Fiends, even. Start at the beginning. I started at You Suck, I think. Then went back, then forward. But yeah, that's the book I read this week. Next week I'll have something still contemporary, then I'll have something probably super old. Wow, this vlog is long. This is probably longer than all the vlogs I'll make this week combined. Bye.